maybe even Dragon Ball as a kid, but the real special time is the series that you find over those next couple of years which really make you fall in love with anime and become a fan forever. Today I want to share with you a handful of series that changed my life. Anime that had an impact on me for whatever reason, and to show those for me to talk about what I love. So without further ado, these are the anime that changed my life. Changed in years, and when it comes to that question, 414, what is your favorite anime of all time? Well, my friend, becoming a powerful military nation, starting with the takeover of Japan. They renamed Japan to Area 11 after quickly defeating it, but the people of Japan are fighting back hard to become free again. Lelouch Lamperouge, a student from Britannia, gets caught in a fight between the Britannian army and the Area 11 rebels. He manages to escape because of a mysterious girl named CC, who gives him a special power called Geass, the power of kings. With this new power to make anyone obey him, Lelouch becomes a masked hero called Zero. He starts a dangerous mission to fight against Britannia and to get his revenge. Code Geass captivated me from the very beginning. Its story takes you on a roller coaster of moments where you just can't work out how Lelouch will turn it around and win. It has an amazing cast of characters, an even more amazing soundtrack, a dynamic between Lelouch and Suzaku that I honestly can't get enough of, and a stunning woman named Colin Kozuki who, yes, I would smash. To this day, I still watch this anime at least once a year. Do you remember the first anime that kept you up until the early hours of the morning because you couldn't stop hitting the next episode button? The story was so gripping that you had to know what happened next. I do, and even now I struggle to avoid the early hours of the morning when watching this anime. What anime is that? Well, it's Steins Gate. Eccentric scientist Rintaro Okabe loves exploring science. With his kind friend Mayuri Shina and his roommate Itaru Hashida, Okabe starts the Future Gadget Laboratory. They hope to make cool new inventions, but the only notable gadget they've made is a microwave that turns bananas into green goo. One day, Okabe goes to a time travel conference and sees strange things that make him think that their phone microwave is special. It can send text messages into the past. Okabe and his friends experiment more with their time machine, which catches the attention of a mysterious group called CERN. Because of their discovery, Okabe and his friends are in constant danger. As he tries to fix the problems caused by their invention, Okabe struggles to save his friends and keep himself from losing his mind. Steins Gate is a wild, and I mean wild, ride. A lot of people don't care for the slice of life beginning, but I love the antics of Okabe's alter ego, Hoenn Kiyoma, and the vibe of the early days. However, there reaches a point in this anime where everything changes and it gets dark real quick. I'm not afraid to say it, but for me, Steins Gate is a masterpiece. Who was your first anime waifu? What series were they from? And did you watch that series because you thought the girl was hot? Now, I remember finding the term waifu for the very first time, and I knew that I needed one. A girl who I could be associated and, well, fixated with. So a swift Google search of hot anime girls led me to this one image that literally changed my life. It was a girl wearing a red and black Lolita dress wielding two pistols. She had beautiful twin tails and a clock in her left eye. Little did I know that that girl would ruin me. Kurumi Tokisaki from Date A Live. Man, did I fall hard for her and for the series that she's from. So, 30 years ago, a huge spatial quake hit the Eurasian continent, causing the deaths of over 150 million people. These quakes kept happening around the world, but they are not as strong as that first one was. So we follow the story of Shido Itsuka, a normal high school student who lives with his younger sister Kotori. When a spatial quake is about to hit Tengu City, he rushes to save her, but gets caught in the quake himself. He finds a mysterious girl at the center of it who is a spirit, an otherworldly being whose arrival causes these quakes. He soon gets involved in a fight between the girl and the anti-spirit team, a group who wants to basically destroy spirits. There's also another group called Ratatoskr that wants to save the spirits, and it's actually led by Shido's little sister Kotori. So she forces Shido to join them and tells him that there is another way to stop the spirits. Yes, to make them fall in love with him. Now, Shido must use his dating skills to charm the spirits and save the world. So yeah, Date A Live is a trashy harem show, and I love it for that. But the deeper through the show you get, the more you realize that there is so much more to it, and it gets pretty dark as well. I love Kurumi Tokisaki for many a different reason, and one of them was for introducing me to the series Date A Live. Can you remember an anime that completely shocked you? Like, you went into it expecting one thing, but it gave you something completely different. The phrase "don't judge a book by its cover" kind of thing. So a friend I was working with told me to check out this anime about magical girls. I stared at him blankly for a second before checking it out, realizing that it was actually super dark and that it would become one of my favorite anime of all time. If you haven't guessed it from the intro, we're talking about Madoka Magica. Madoka Kaname and Sayaka Miki are normal middle school girls with normal lives, but everything changes when they meet Kyubei, a cat-like mythical creature, and Homura Akemi, the new student. Kyubei makes them an offer. He will grant any wish they have, and in return, they will become magical girls with special powers. But Homura Akemi, who is already a magical girl, warns them not to accept the offer, saying that things aren't as they seem. Madoka Magica is a story about hope, despair, and friendship, and it shows the challenges of becoming a magical girl at the cost of making a wish come true. And honestly, I don't think I can name an anime that shocked me as much as this one did, and I mean that in a very good way. Madoka Magica is truly a very special anime, and one that if you haven't seen it yet, you'll probably blast through it in one sitting, and yes, that's including the movie too. If I were to ask you which anime blew you away the most, what would you say? This next one blew me away for multiple things all at once. We're talking animation, soundtrack, story, cast of characters. I was completely in awe of what I was watching. At the time, I was watching through a series. I think it was Shakugan no Shana, and my brother told me that I had to stop watching that and check out this anime he found called Fate/stay night Unlimited Blade Works. So I did. And Jesus Christmas, what an anime it is. But don't worry, I also did finish Shakugan no Shana, absolute peak, and kind of mad that I disrespected it like that. But Fate was so good, man. So the Holy Grail War is a big battle between 7 magi called Masters. Each Master has a special heroic spirit called a servant to fight for them. In the 5th Holy Grail War, Rin Tosaka is one of these Masters with her servant Archer, and she wants to win the Holy Grail, a magical cup that will grant any wish. Now, Rin's classmate Shiro Emiya accidentally joins the competition and gets his own servant named Saber. Since the two have a common enemy, Rin and Shiro decide to team up and fight together in the Holy Grail War. Now, it was the historical figures used in the anime that really grabbed me. As a kid, where others had posters of cars, pop stars, and movies, I was a little different. I had posters of medieval warfare, the Roman Empire, Egyptian pyramids, things like that. I was a massive history nerd. So I knew the historical figures in this anime really well, and I loved seeing Fate's take on them and the premise in which they are used. Plus, ufotable nailed the adaptation. It's freaking gorgeous. Now, of course, Fate can be confusing to navigate if you haven't seen it before, but I always recommend starting with Fate Zero first and then going into this one and spiraling off from there. Next up, let's talk about that special anime that you watch to help you feel good. Everyone has that feel-good anime. Now, no matter how hard times can be and no matter how shit the real world can get, this anime is my go-to. If I want to forget about it all, this anime never fails to help me escape from real life and make me feel happy again. This is Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. So as Kobayashi heads to work one day, she opens her apartment door and sees something shocking. Yeah, a dragon's head staring at her from herself as Toru. Now, the night before, Kobayashi had been drunk and met the dragon in the mountains at her job, but her strange ways of cleaning often scare Kobayashi and cause more problems. Toru is bringing even more craziness to Kobayashi's life. And though Kobayashi tries her best to handle it all, she's happier than the way that Toru and Ko do. If I ever need a smile, I know this anime is going to be the... Have you ever sat down to watch a new seasonal anime and was completely summoned to the kingdom of Melromark to save it? Melromark is a country troubled by the waves of catastrophe. He can't attack well and it seems boring. Now, when the heroes are given supplies and a party to train with, Naofumi falsely accuses him of taking advantage of her. Naofumi is then hated and mistreated by everyone in Melromark for something that he didn't do. Angry and hurt, Naofumi starts his journey to become stronger and travels. As the waves get closer, Naofumi and Raphtalia must fight to protect the kingdom and its people. A grittier vibe about it, and I just absolutely loved that about this series. Shield Hero was also the first... Do you have an anime that you had zero interest in? An anime that just didn't look like some, and I couldn't see any best girls. Now, however, I wish that I had the body of a Joestar. I regard the story as a masterpiece, and I can never forgive myself for not noticing that the best girl was Speedwagon. Now, I'm also thought they were dead and he wanted to steal their belongings. 12 years later, when Dario dies, George adopts showing off and being better than Jonathan. This causes tension in the family, but when Dio goes too far, Jonathan fights back and wins. Years later, everyone thinks that Jonathan and Dio are really good friends, the best of friends, but when George becomes sick, Jonathan suspects that Dio is involved and that he has more evil plans. And I've got to say, it's actually scary how much JoJo's influences our daily lives now. You know, there are constant JoJo references being thrown around between me and my wife, and the soundtrack is usually always on somewhere in the house. It's a god tier series. Have you ever watched something that had such an impact on you that it caused you to do something silly like wishing on a star or something like that? Well, this next one did for me, and I actually ended up getting what I wished for. It was New Year's Eve 2018, and I sat down to watch the movie Your Name for the first time. So, Mitsuha is a high school girl who wishes she could live as a boy in the busy city of Tokyo, far different from her life in the countryside. In Tokyo, Taki is a high school student who juggles his part-time job and dreams of becoming an architect. One day, Mitsuha wakes up in a room that isn't hers and finds herself living in Tokyo, but in Taki's body. At the same time, Taki wakes up in Mitsuha's body in the quiet countryside. Confused and curious, they start searching for each other to find out why this is happening. Your Name follows Mitsuha and Taki as they navigate their new lives, making choices that deeply affect the other, all tied together by fate and circumstance. So yeah, what silly thing did this movie make me do? Well, I was single at the time and I wanted the connection Mitsuha and Taki had, so at the stroke of midnight, I wished that I'd find my other half that year. 2 months later, I met a girl who I would go on to marry and now call my wife. These are some anime that are truly special to me and have changed my life in some way. Did you find anything new to watch? Do you have a similar connection with any of these anime? What anime are special to you? Let me know in the comment section below. And if I didn't find a new anime for you to watch here, then check out this video where I go through some of my underrated or forgotten favorites. How many of those have you seen? Go check it out.